to urban sprawl. And I think that that phenomenon also happened to not just Indonesians. Like I personally see myself, lands in my hometown is being converted to industrial purpose. I believe it also happens to your country as well. Many croplands are being converted to infrastructure, to housing and other purposes, and that's why it is obviously lead to the fact that world per capita agricultural land is decreased by 30% compared to the amount back in 1990. So my organization or TJFC see this thing as a crucial or important aspect that need to be addressed. Most people, some people work for the food access, some people work for helping community to get the food, but in TJF, we work to securing the land itself. I also want to give you example from my country as well. In Indonesia, for example, Indonesia needs 10 million crops, 10 million hectares of crops to achieve food self-sufficiency in 2045. But we can see from the data that the demand or the land conversion rate, croplands conversion is around 96,000 hectares per year, while the new croplands that the government can create is only between 20 to 30,000. This is a very huge gap between the land demands for crops or for food, between the government, what government can do to create the new croplands so we can produce food and achieving the food self-sufficiency. And this is what become our causes. We really try to identify solutions about how to fill this gap. Actually, to resolving this problem, we have a different approach. I can see that a lot of organizations working on this problem as well. Some of them try to develop technology, some of them try to develop land intensification, but in TGF, we have a different idea about how to resolve this problem. We will work with the lands that are often forgotten, lands that people think it's very unproductive, lands that also called marginal lands or abandoned land. They are largely neglected. You can see in the picture, this is on the left is the dry lands and on the right is the wetlands. I hope some of you are familiar with these types of lands. These kinds of lands are largely neglected because people tend to think that it's just not productive, you know, it's just too wet or too dry. Like it takes a lot of effort to, you know, work with the wetlands, and it does the same with the dry land. But is that really true? Is the wetlands and the dry lands are just marginal lands that we cannot use? So we have this term, this called suboptimal lands. So suboptimal lands is a term to define these kinds of lands that is like for mineral lands or fertile lands that they are called optimal, but these kinds of land, the lands that is just too wet or too dry, they are called suboptimal lands. And this is what TGF has been working on. We just trying a scientific evidence or research to transform suboptimal dryland or wetlands to be a productive lands that can be used to support food production. And I'll just show you some facts in Indonesia. This is the map of my country in Indonesia. Basically, around 80% of the land in this country is consists of suboptimal lands, starting from acidic drylands, arid drylands to peatlands, swamplands. But only a few of them are being utilized for agriculture. And from the total around 100 million hectares of suboptimal lands, based on the research that we found that around 29 million are compatible for agricultural purpose. Of course, we're not saying that all of suboptimal lands can be used for agriculture, but some of them are very useful and can be part of the solution to produce food and strengthen the food security. So I've mentioned before that peatlands is part of the suboptimal lands, right? So this particular types of land, which is peatland, is the one that we've been working on. I hope you guys familiar with peatlands, or in Indonesia it's called tanah gambut. But first of all, what is peatland? Peatlands is the types of wetlands. They are formed entirely organic, like derived from remains of dead and decaying plants materials. They've been buried on the ground for like 100 years or so, and the mineral soil become clay, and the soil also being inundated by seawater, and that's why it looks like wetlands. And why these peatlands matter? Because as you know, actually peatland is one of the most important ecosystem in this world, because it can sequester carbon. It can absorb carbon emissions. It also carbon sink the dead or decaying plants, or the dead materials can be a carbon source on the ground. And in this diagram, we can see that peat forest is actually can absorb a lot more of, or can be a carbon sequestration, can sequester carbon largely, very significant compared to upland forests in Brazil. The roots and soil can hold like more than 2,000 ton carbon per hectare. And if we want to campaign or advocate for less carbon emission, then peatland, proper peatland management is one of the biggest answer to do that. And why should we care? Like, maybe some of you just living in the cities and rarely heard about peatland, and typically peatland just located far away in the forest, or in the woods or the jungle. Why should we care? Because I give you example in Indonesia, the carbon emission by sector largely from land use change and forestry, and the land use change is very affected by peatland utilization. For example, peatland utilization for palm oil. they need to drain the pit soil until it gets dry. So the dry soil can be planted by the palm oil. But what is the impact of draining the pit soil? Of course, the soil will become really dry to the point the heat in the forest can trigger the fire. So a lot of pit forests being are impacted by escalating forest fire, especially in the heat wave or in the dry area. And Indonesia is also known for its large scale of deforestation and forest fire. So by properly manage peatland or advocating the responsible utilization of peatland, we can prevent this to happen again in the future. And that's why TJF is trying to advocate food security through sustainable agriculture and suboptimal lands. Through these four are our main activities, for starting from catalyzing research and educating people. We also provide consultancy. For example, some of you want to have this kind of consultancy about how to transforming the suboptimal lands into fertile lands. We can have collaboration about that. And also we would like to facilitate the advocacy to the point we want to contribute to the government about how to have a more effective policy so that these suboptimal lands can be transformed into productive lands in a sustainable way. And actually, TGF leverage over 30 years of experience. In this map, there is a province called Riau, and Riau is largely covered by peatlands, and we have our main research there. And we are not just trying to help the communities, but also we implement a scientific approach that all of our research or activities can be our scientific basis. And that's why we have a lot of academic publication that based on our research and program there. So I want to take you guys to a place. It's a very interesting place, one of a kind. I only see this kind of place in Pulau Burung. This is our site research located at Pulau Burung district in Riau province. This district is known for its huge coconut production and livelihood for around 11,000 residents. This coconut production also has been exported to around 80 countries, and maybe I am convinced that the coconut products at your country, some of them also resourced from this district. This is the landscape of peatland that what I've been talking about. Peatland is part of the wetlands. You can see the water table or the water surface is almost equal to land surface, because in this district the land is not drained. This district has an innovation of how to not draining the peatland, but also can manage the soil to grow the commodities, which is coconut. And it also helping the economic and livelihood of the communities, because 90% of this area is covered by peatland. If the community cannot access the knowledge of how to sustainably utilize the peatland, then there will be no livelihood for around 11,000 residents in this district. And TGF, I believe TGF research in Pulau Burung can be exemplary innovations, especially it's very relatable under this event themes, which is circular agriculture. And I will give you evidence of how can this circular agriculture can be managed in this place. We have these 4 themes of our research, like water management, healthy soil, low carbon emission, and food security. And these pictures are part of our research there that we had a couple months ago in this district. So start from the water management. This place have this called WMT, Water Management Trinity. Actually, it's a combination of canals, dikes, water gates, and dams. This district has a lot of canals, and that's why the main transportation here is not cars or motorbikes, but it's a boat. It's a wooden boat that people just use on daily basis to go to school, to go to work. They use the canals not just for the water management, but also as a means for the waterways transportation. And this water management can control the level of the water table. For example, during the drought, they will hold the water from the rain and the seawater, so the water level can maintain to keep as high as the soil level. And during the rainy season, they can dispense the water to the sea, so there won't be any flooding events in this district. And the water can also maintain the pit soil to be wet, which is the key to prevent forest fire. If you happen to visit this place, you can check the soil is always wet, no matter the season is, even during the dry season. The soil, the water management can maintain the soil to be always wet. And this is the result of this is part of our research to identify the subsidence rates. I like to remind you again, like subsidence is the decreasing of water level. This is really part of the irrigation system. The graphic on the left, you can see that the average of the subsidence rate in this district for around 32 years is only about 1.7 centimeters per year. We also compared the subsidence rate in this plantation with other plantations in different areas. The one in the bottom is this one is the line for Pulau Burung, and the upper line is from other plantations. So while different plantations have a very high subsidence rates, which is endangered the whole ecosystem, the plantation in Pulau Burung can maintain the subsidence to be always low. And that's all because the good practice of the water management trinity. And next, we also identify the carbon emission. Peatland is highly controversial, especially for its utilization, because it is very risky to manage peatland, because if you did something wrong in this types of soil, it will result in a lot of carbon emissions. So we try to manage how to find solution where the community can keep their livelihood by growing the coconut trees while maintaining the low carbon emission in this area. And this is the result of our research. The coconut plantation below 50 milligram per hectare emission in Kalimantan or Acacia in other parts in Riau, they generate a very high carbon emission, which is very risky to forest fire. And also the healthy soil. We also identify how to manage the healthy soil, because if the soil is degraded, the carbon emission will be very high and the coconuts will not grow in this area. So this is the comparison of the coconut plantation. The left, who is very dry, is the coconut plantation that is not managed by the water management system. There are no grass understory. You can see that in the bottom or on the ground, there is no grass at all. They are using a lot of pesticide and then burn the pit soil. While the one in the Pulau Burung area, they have a lot of grass on the ground, and this grass or grass understory are cut around every 4 months, and it becomes the organic fertilizer. So this plantation doesn't require a lot of chemical fertilizer, because it also it has been provided by the grass itself. And we did the soil profiling, where we can see in this healthy soil, the organic layer, you can see the darker brown color in the surface of the soil. This is called organic layer, while the soil is matured and has high water table. From this picture, you can see that the water is the soil is very absorb the water. The soil is just very wet, and there is no dry soil, and that's why we can keep the carbon on the ground, and the coconut can grow very well on this type of soil. And this is our calculations back in 2020 until 2021. Actually, we measured the carbon sequestration in this kind of plantation. And the coconut ecosystem can sequester around 109 ton carbon per hectare per year, which is a really great number. These pictures indicates the carbon cycle to which the plantations, the plants, including the coconuts, grass, and pineapple there, have this kind of oxidation and respiration through the photosynthesis process, but they can also absorb a lot of carbon per hectare per year. And that's why the carbon balance of this carbon cycle can produce the positive balance of around 109 ton carbon per year. And as I mentioned before, this sequestration also resulted from the lot of grassland on the bottom or on the ground of the coconut itself. So this is a very often questions: how did we measure the emissions? A lot of you guys have heard about the calculating of carbon emission, like this area produce an X amount of ton carbon per year, but how did actually we do it? So this is actually very technical, but I'll try to make it simple. The coconut plantation is it's kind of large scale. It covered around 22,000 hectares, but we only need 10 point of distribution of soil sampling. And we also use this silver box and red box is called carbon gas analyzer to measure the emission from soil. Like we capture the gas and carbon from soil, and then we calculate the composition of the gas itself. And this kind of research we measured on daily basis for around 6 months from September to February. And the picture in the corner below is called soil profiling. And that's why from this profiling, we can measure how healthy is the soil and how much the amount of the carbon itself. And enabling the good soil and water condition, of course, very bring good contribution to the community itself. I haven't mentioned that in Pulau Burung, actually they're just not the people not growing coconuts, but also they are able to growing other types of plants, including the horticulture, including the vegetables, corns, or spinach, or any types of food plants. And that's why the healthy soil and the availability of water management can help them to grow so many types of food sources, as you see in these vegetable gardens. And of course, it really affects their food security and their ability to access the food production. And this is Miss Ribka. I also have interviewed her in this area where she actually glad she has a lot of experiments of growing many types of vegetables, and it did work. And that's why a lot of communities also rely on vegetables or horticulture production in this area to help them access the food. And so this is the framework of TGF, where we like to advocate food production in suboptimal lands, but also we also want to have a research or study or collaboration that is outside of the ground, like supply chain, food pricing, food diversification, good governance. And that's why we need a lot of collaboration with different organizations. And I also like to tell you guys that we are very open for partnership or collaboration regarding the food production or food access or food governance that is helping us to achieve our goals that we about the provision of food for humanity, especially from suboptimal lands area. So that's all from me. I hope this presentation can get you a little bit knowledge about what suboptimal land is and how we try to advocate scientific approach to have evidence that suboptimal lands can also reliable for food production. And as a research-based organization, we also publish a lot of scientific papers, starting from academic journals, brief, and also booklet that is easier to digest. And you can also get our publication for free. Just go to our website, tayjuhanafoundation.org, and you can see a lot of resources there. Or also you can also just email me, and so we can talk further about many things related to food production or food system. So that's all my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this insightful presentation. And I feel like the way you presented is really informative. I have never heard about the way you are managing the pet how it's really important to have the grassland to absorb the carbon emission as well. And also you all managing your foundation TJF is managing the water management for the to drink based on the season. So it's really insightful discussion. So participants, if you have a questions, please, you can raise your hand or you can type in the chat box.
Yeah, please, thank you, Pooh. Yeah, please shoot any questions. I will really happy to answer.
All right. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand or you can also type in the chat box. Maybe I can start with a question from me after I listen your presentation, and I want to know, like, it might not be very easy to how can I say, repair the land that already destroyed in many ways. So I want to know, like, how, and also you talk about like all the it doesn't mean all the suboptimal lands are not will be working to plant to be productive to plant our vegetables. So how can we easily know this land will be working? And also my next question is how long it takes to repair this land that already destroyed in many ways. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Pooh, for the questions. So, yeah, your first question was about how is that about how do we know which suboptimal lands, which kind of suboptimal lands that can be used to grow food or can be productive?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So as I mentioned before, there are so many types of suboptimal lands, but basically it's just wetlands or dry lands. The lands that is just too wet or too dry, or also the one that used to be fertile but is now degraded, and they are being abandoned. So of course, it depends on which types of the land that you want to use. And for I give you example for the wetland itself, for like swampland or peatland, you need to have this verification phase that you have to know the water level or the water consists that how much water that contains in the soil. If the water is too much, is there any way to reduce the water so the soil can have a right amount of wetness or dryness so that you can grow your plants? But and as I also mentioned before, some of the wetlands can be used, but some are cannot. So for the ones that cannot be used for agriculture, and then you have to just conserve it. You just have to protect this land area, because although the land is cannot cannot be used for the plantation, the wetlands itself is still very important ecosystem, and a lot of people they are forcing the wetlands to be productive when regardless the assessment process tell them the otherwise, and it turned out to be a disaster for ecosystem. And that's why TGF is very strong in scientific approach. We really have to study the land beforehand to ensure if this land can be worked or not. And yeah, you have to conduct the study first to identify if this soil is feasible or not, and then you can proceed to further steps. But for the wetland, they also this term called paludiculture, which is paludiculture means growing the native species of wetlands. So you don't have to change anything about the wetland. You don't have to change the water level. You just grow the native species and they can grow naturally. And the native species is like sagu or some sagu or jelutung. Sorry, I don't recall what it's called in the English term, but it's like local plants in Indonesia. So yeah, there are two ways: either you do polyculture or you find a more compatible wetland for other types of commodities to grow. And it also applies to dry lands where you have to see the water consistency in this soil, because dry lands, it's very obvious that the rainy season in this area is very low, but in the dry area in Indonesia, like eastern area like Nusa Tenggara or Bali, there are a lot of dry lands that can be managed for the agriculture. The key lies on the irrigation system itself. So as I mentioned before, the water management is very important to control the water level. So yeah, beside identifying the soil types, you also need to identify the right irrigation system for the area. And yeah, I hope that answers. And for the second questions, how long it takes to transform suboptimal lands into productive lands? Again, it depends on the area. For example, in the peatland, it takes a lot of work because uh, it has so many water contents, and you have to build like canals, dams, water gates. While in the drylands, I believe the process could be easier because you just need to have the right irrigation system and connect the system to water resources, especially when the area is next to, for example, rivers or canals. And that's why most of the work of transforming is based on the experiments of the irrigation system and the seed experiments, like what types of seed that can be grown for the area. So yeah, I hope that's answered.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah, for answering my questions. And our participants, if you have a question, you can raise your hand or you can also type in the chat box. I think this is a really, okay, Jackie.
Hello. Yeah, good morning, everyone. So I really enjoy your presentation just now. I have just one question. I'm not very sure about this condition and also other countries. For example, when you're helping to convert the land, for example, from one usage to another usage. So do you need to get the permission from the government, or how is it going to be done? I would like to know more about the involvement of the government, because I think it requires a lot some laws and registration. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. It's very interesting, especially when we have to partner up with the government. Yeah, for the small scale plantation or small scale garden that owned by individual farmers, of course they don't need the lot of approval, but based on the area scale itself, if for example if you want to have like more than 10 hectares of the plantations of growing commodities, you need a lot of permission from starting from the village level to the what is called provincial or district level. And actually Indonesia has its own challenge regarding to getting permission of the land governance. I'm not sure if it also happens to your country as well, but sometimes getting permissions can very have conflict interest. Like you go to this government and they said you can use this land, but then you also need different permission from different governmental body, and you went there to that governmental body and they said no, you cannot use this land. And this is kind of confusing because every government has their own policy. And the worst case is when you finally get the land permission from government, and then years later you find out other organization or other farmers also have the same permission to use the same area. So it's like, why how could the government issuing two permission in the same lands? And there is a conflicting of food production in that area. And that's why for now all I know that the government is developing one map policy. So every government has to rely on that map, and so they can identify which area that can be used for agriculture and which area that is cannot. But of course, there is still a long way to go to finally get that kind of one map policy, because it takes a lot of process, especially in the large country like Indonesia, where like we have almost 200 million hectares of land. And yeah, deal with. And you just have to, carefully identify the land is legally can be used for agriculture or not. But I don't think it happens for the small scale farmers, so it's easier for them to utilize the land.
Thank you so much for the clarification. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you, Jack.
Thank you so much. And maybe my final call. Do you guys have any questions? You can raise your hand, or you can also type in the chat box. I think this is a really great opportunity to ask your concerns for the agriculture innovation, and also Tay Juhana Foundation is also approaching the circular agriculture, because this foundation is fighting against the carbon emission, food security, water management. So this is a really great opportunity to directly talk who are really working along with the community. So don't be shy to ask your question. Long.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. And I really excited to know more about your foundation. I have one question related to the term our program had to like. Have you applied anything related to the circularity into your research or maybe your practices when you implement your projects or activities with the farmers, for example, circulate the waste or using something um, to circulate all the byproducts after you harvest the crop or something like that. Because I haven't seen it in their presentation clearly.
Yeah, thank you, Long, for the questions. So, yeah, I'm I'm not I'm not sure. Do you asking the circular of the byproducts of the
Yes.
community?
Yeah. My question is related to have you like have research related to circulate the things, for example,
Oh,
or maybe the waste? Because you mentioned a lot related to the soil and all the things, but how about the waste? Because the farmers they just care about the production, but they don't care about the process of um, treating the waste.
yeah, yeah. All right. Thank you for the questions. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't explicitly mentioned about the waste management in my presentations, and it's good that you asking about it. So one thing about the coconut is every part of the plants is very useful, starting from the the fruits, the coconut flesh, the husk, the coconut shell, the leaves, the tree trunk. Every part of the tree itself is useful. Uh, you can see that, for example, the coconut shells is can be recycled for the I don't in Indonesia it's very common to have house furniture made of the coconut shells, and it also the coconut husk also can be used for the organic fertilizer, and the trees also for the food package, and the tree trunk can also be used for bridges in the village. And if I had shown you I've shown you the water gates picture earlier, the water gates also made of the coconut trunks. So every part of the trees is very useful and can be recycled for many other things. And that's why in this district, there also a factory that is focused on recycling the coconut waste. They are collecting the coconut shells, the coconut husk, the trunk and the trees. And I can say there is no part in coconut that is not useful, because yeah, they're just how normally people there they are collecting the waste of the coconut itself and then recycle them to be other useful things. And yeah, I hope that answers.
Yes, thank you for your answer, because I saw in Vietnam we also do that practice too, especially in the southern Vietnam. It's quite familiar to Indonesia or maybe Malaysia, because it might have some furniture or tools
Yes.
made from coconut waste. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Zara, for sharing your about the Tay Juhana Foundation, and this was really insightful. And thank you so much for sharing your time, like to share your experiences And I would like to call John, who is also our teaching fellow in the YSEALI Academic Fellowship. John, can you also introduce yourself? Say hi to our participants, and we can proudly introduce our teaching fellow John here.
Oh, I don't know. I don't expect this one is one of the session also here today. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Jun. So I'm from Indonesia. I also thank you, Long. Also working as a program assistant in TJF, Tay Juhana Foundation. And beside that, I was working as a teaching fellows for our great team today, Circular Agriculture Innovation Challenge. If I'm not mistaken, your team name is a Green Wheel Initiative, right? So yeah. I'm sorry. I mean, like, I forgot to take a lot of how to say it. I don't know how to say it, but it's really exciting to see you guys here, because before all of you just volunteering in our innovation challenge, and then today you own your own innovation challenge here, and that's so amazing to know that I'm a pro teaching fellows actually. Yeah, thanks for that.
Thank you so much, John. And would you like to share something about your event now?
Oh, okay. I will go ya, Kak Zahra. Well, yeah, we have, just for your information. So if you all guys going to our Instagram, you will find that actually we have a event this year. It's called Pit Party. So it's gonna be like to celebrate the World Pitland Day last. So yeah, but the application is actually a reels competition. So it will be, if you see that, it will be extend until 25 June. So if you have any kind of ideas about the reels, and also you passionate in video editing or something like that, you can join our event. It's gonna be like the theme is about from pitlands to our plate. So it's up to you. It's about your creativity to join us, because actually we will like have a prize for all of you. So more information you can find here. Yeah, right. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. And at the same time, thank you so much to our speaker from Tay Juhana Foundation. And before we end our session, can we take a photo with our participants? So if you please try our photo session and open your camera. Oh, all right. Hey guys, hi guys. Okay, I will count 1, 2, 3, and you can make any poses that you want. So 1, 2, 3. All right. Let me take another one. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, John, and thank you so much, Sarah, for joining our workshop today. It's a really great honor to have you here. So before we jump to our next session, we will have 5 minutes break, and we will meet you guys on 10, 15, right? So see you in another 5 minutes.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Hello everyone, welcome you all back. For next session, we are going to discuss about the circular economy, which is also our main theme of this program. And that's why I would like to invite Erin, who is the project officer of YSEALI Economy, to discuss the circular economy and the YSEALI challenge, which is also based on the circular economy concept. And let's welcome Erin. The stage is yours.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Very nice to see everyone. If you are here, I hope you got your break, like coffee or comfort room break, and I hope everyone is energized. If you're here, kindly send me a heart or a thumbs up react button for me to see if you're really active right now. Okay, okay. So take note of those who did it, okay? They might be away from the keyboard. All right. So would you like to, can you share screen, my presentation? Thank you. I hope everyone is doing lovely this morning and a very insightful talk from the previous speaker. All right. So again, yeah, I'm Erin from the Philippines. I'm project officer of YSEALI Economy. And I have been an academic fellow 2018 with Dita, whom you meet yesterday as a speaker as well. We were in the same cohort. And it's lovely to meet the fellows right now. And I hope um, you will have a good time with my presentation. All right. So I'm based here in the Philippines, and YSEALI Economy is actually a project funded by the Rethinking Plastic Circular Economy Solutions to Marine Litter by the European Union and the German federal government. So we are focusing in 2 cities here in the Philippines. And on the next slide, you will see what are we going to talk about today. So I'm going to talk about what is circular economy, why is it important, and sharing with you the 2 hackathons we did that is circular. So moving forward, next slide, please. I'm gonna talk briefly about our organization. It is called the Philippine Reef and Rainforest Conservation Foundation. We are a small team, and you can see the picture. That's all of us already. You see here in my background, and the photo that you see is the lovely island that we take care of, which is the Dalugan Island. It's a marine sanctuary here in the country. And aside from that, we also do projects in reducing plastic waste, such as SWEEP or the Sea Waste Education to eradicate plastic, and YSEALI. So what is YSEALI? In this next slide, it means nothing is wasted in our local language. Zero waste is really popular all over the world, but in small communities, they can't relate to it. So it is important that we reach these communities and make it localized. That's why YSEALI is the term that we use here. So mainly the project focuses on pioneering sari-sari stores. What is sari-sari stores? It's like small stores, small convenience stores in communities. Like here in the Philippines, you can find small convenience stores everywhere, like in each block. So it reduces lots and lots of single-use plastic packaging on fast-moving consumer goods. For example, your shampoos in sachets, toothpastes, candies, chips. So many plastics. So the YSEALI program focuses on reducing those waste to a more circular one. So mainly small zero waste stores that the communities can afford. On the next slide, I'm going to talk about what is circular economy. Why are we talking about it? Why do we have this innovation challenge about circularity, and why is it important? So next slide is I will briefly introduce you to the linear economy. This is what we have right now. 3 steps. We take, we make, and we waste. So a first step is we extract raw materials, reduce it. For example, you extract raw materials metals, production of phones, distribute, you buy it, and if it's not the latest phone, you sell it or you dispose it. So that is what linear economy is. A circular economy in the next slide is focusing on not making any waste. So the next slide, please. So circular economy has 3 themes. It is design out waste and pollution, circulate products and materials, and regenerate nature. So what do we mean by design out waste and pollution? Meaning in the system itself, you make products that doesn't generate waste. Second, you circulate products and materials. So as long as it lives, you can use it and hopefully help regenerate nature. So we need to rethink and redesign how we do things in circular economy. We have to cut off how we do things and we need to rethink and redesign it for a better future. And next slide. This is quite complicated. This is basically a diagram on how circular economy works. This is from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. It is free on their website if you'd like to look more into it. So for circular economy, we maximize the products to its life. So we don't generate any waste. So if there is waste, it should be organic waste. So for example, you have a slipper and then you use the slipper, it gets broken. So usually we throw it away. But in circular economy, you can have it repaired or you can have it made into a different form so that you can extend its life. So in the next slide, I'm going to show you a video why circular economy is important and what is it.
Kainit, nagit sa kalibutan, subong niya. Kanami, nagininong butong. Bisan din ka magkato sa Pilipinas, makakita kagid sang lubi. Sa baybay, sa bukid, sa imo tupad balay. Ang puno sang lubi, pulita mahimo, balay. Ukon, lamesa. Ang dahon naman sang lubi, mahimo taman siya sang atok. Ukon pamputos, sang ibon. Kag ang unod naman sang lubi, madamo kita makuha dira. Butong, lana, gata, kopra, tuba, bunot, nagmaski, paya. Lagid sang parte sang lubi, nga may usik. Kung maguba man ni, kung hindi na magamit, madunot man lang ini kag magbalik sa duta. Amo ni siyang ginatawag nga, wala usik. Pero sa subong nga tion, ang aton ginasunod nga sistema, lain. Ang aton pangabuhi ara sa ginatawag nga linear economy. Ginakuha ta ang aton dunang manggad. Ginahimo naton ini sa mga produkto. Kag kung hindi naman ta nanamian, kag kung wala ta na ginagamit, ginahaboy. Kuha, himo, haboy. Ang problema sini, ang aton dunang manggad, lapit na lang maubos. Kag ang aton kalibutan, nagadamo ang higo, tungod damo naman ang pabrika nga nagahimo sang aton mga produkto. Kag ang aton plastic nga basura nga ginahaboy, lapit na sa 1 milyon nga kilo kada adlaw. Sunod sa Ellen MacArthur Foundation, sa 2050, mas bugat pa ang basura nga ara sa dagat kaysa isda. Gani ang pamangkot. Paano ito baguhon? Kinahanglan ta ibalik ang wala usik. Ang aton mga produkto, dala na ang suludlan, kag packaging, kailangan ta rethink and redesign. Dapat wala sang sagot nga mabuhat. Kag dapat aton mga pagkabutang, hindi to dahil pag-ihaboy o kung islan, kung pwede man lang gamit. Kung kaisa lang gamiton, hindi na lang pagbaklon. Kag, padamuon sa pag-ida atong bilang manggad. Damo na sang innovation na nakasugod sang amuni na circular economy. Parehas sa mga refillery or zero waste stores, mga single-use plastic bags, mga compostable packaging, kag iban pa nga conservation and sustainability efforts. Kinahanglan ta mag-ugyon kag magbinuligay para makahimo sang mas tinlo kag mas hilway nga buwas damlag para sa aton nga tanan. Kailangan tayo balik ang wala usik.
All right, so that is our explainer video on why we're doing circular economy here in the Philippines. And if you, it's in our local language. I would just put subtitles in it because we want to reach small communities that doesn't get usually reached to. So as you can see, we also took the example of a coconut, which every part of the coconut is used and nothing is wasted. So in the next slide, we had a chance to do a challenge for a circular economy hackathon last year. And it was a 3-day hackathon, a 48-hour hackathon. And it was open to all Filipinos. And next slide is we got 48 inspiring entries. So the entries was because we have two themes, which is the products and systems innovation. When you say products innovation, you are trying to hack the packaging, like it's a physical form, like bioplastics or packaging that is made of bio waste or agricultural waste. But in innovation, system innovations, you're trying to make an app, you're trying to make a system or mechanism that is focusing on circularity. So we have received 41 applications all over the country, and we chose 18 challengers to move on to the next round. So in the next slide, this is a hackathon that they will get a chance to win 100,000 pesos to firm up their business plans and make it more circular. So if you can see there, it was actually attended by doctors, engineers, we have students, we have entrepreneurs. So it all forms of life. And you can see that everyone, there's no age range, everyone wants to take part in contributing to what we have now. So out of the 18 challengers in the next slide, we have chosen 5 winners to fund 100,000 pesos each. So the first one is Agubay. Next, please. Agubay is a startup here in my city, which is a production of cellulose-based bioplastic from rice hulls that can potentially replace single-use plastic, bridging zero waste innovation and circular economy. So if you can see in the photo, that is their prototype product. Philippines is an agricultural country. We have so many agricultural waste from sugar canes, rice. So this is a startup, which that's the film that they have, the raw product that they have, and they're currently they're currently in the phase of testing it out. They have connections in Japan to help them out with technology. It's really important. If you're going to have a startup, you expand your startup. You try to research on which companies or which institutions that you would like to connect for you to innovate or improve your product. The second one is, the next slide is one bag or one loop. One loop is a returnable or usable packaging for e-commerce. So they use tarpaulins. You can see big tarpaulins. They support women, local communities in making those bags for e-commerce. For example, if you're gonna buy an item in online shopping, I don't know if you have Shopee or let's say just Amazon, you can choose an option to choose one loop as your packaging, and then the store will put your item in that reusable bag, give it to you, and then you can drop off the bag in any of their drop-off stores, and the bag will go back to one loop. So it's zero waste. The next one is Stud Sustainable Pods. It's actually like your Tide Pods, but a more sustainable way because they don't use any harmful chemicals. So it's a single drop refills in water-soluble film, offering the same deep clean without the excess plastic bottle and sachet waste. I actually use this for my personal home care. It's really good. It's really the smell is great, and it does the job without the single-use plastic waste. The next one is Local Lab. Local Lab is a center of education for sustainable and climate resilient islands, featuring a tailored community aimed towards friendly livelihood. So actually, Local Lab, the first idea or the first innovation they have is providing a space for farmers to put their produce in communities without the packaging of plastic packaging. But unfortunately, last December, the Philippines got hit really bad. In Siargao, where Local Lab is located, the house that you see is wiped out. So right now to they're trying to scale up again, trying to get back on their feet, and they are now focusing on climate resilient farmers and climate resilient crops, so that if ever there's a typhoon again, it's not gonna be totally gone and wiped out. So that's what they're focusing right now. And the last one is Wear Forward. Wear Forward is an AI powered circular fashion platform. You can buy, rent, swap, pre-loved, upcycled, and refashion clothes. So it's an app where you can look for secondhand clothes. You can sell clothes there. If you want your clothes to be upgraded from a t-shirt to a dress, they can do that. If you want to rent gowns, you can do that as well. So the first hackathon that we had has it's not all agriculture. We tapped on single-use plastic. We tapped on textile industry, but I'm gonna share with you the recap that we had. The next slide, the video of our YSEALI Challenge 2021.
My name is Danny Ding Kong, and we are broadcasting live here in Metro.
Dates begin today for the YSEALI Challenge, a circular economy hackathon. In this 4-day virtual event, 18 teams will be pitching for products and systems that are circular.
Five of these teams who have the most innovative circular economy ideas will get to go home with 100,000 pesos each. Plus, along with that is a 2-month incubation support to further firm up their circular business plans and make their ideas operational. And not to mention, Dave, it has to be sustainable. And each challenger only has 48 hours to improve their pitch and prove their worth in getting that prize money. So, just like I always say, good luck.
I now declare this hackathon open.
Sustainable Pods offers personal hygiene and household cleaning products in water-soluble film. Agubay, cellulose-based packaging reinforced with rice hulls to eventually replace single-use plastic. Huan Bag upcycles e-commerce plastic packaging and provides a channel to return and repair these bags. Tabo, a slow market in Siargao offering local fresh produce and promoting sustainable zero-waste shopping. Wear Forward provides clothing as a service through this platform for selling, renting out, swapping, and donating dead stock clothes and more.
If there's one takeaway from this amazing experience, is that there is always an idea in the hearts and minds of a lot of people, not only in the Philippines, but in the whole world. It only goes to show that we have hope and we can do something to create a good kind of change for this environment.
All right, I'm back. Sorry, my internet got off there. So that was the first hackathon challenge we did, and actually the main goal was just only to do one hackathon, and then we got asked to do another one. So earlier this year, we had a chance to do the Walaosik Challenge 2022. It's hack the packaging. The theme is to play for the next generation of packaging solutions, and this hackathon is mainly focusing on hacking the packaging. So no more apps, no more systems innovation. And we're looking only for ideas. It doesn't necessarily mean that you should be a startup or you should be established. Why? Because we think that all great startups starts with a great idea, and we need to give a platform for that. So this one, the prize money was 1,000 euros for three best packaging ideas. So we had the theme gamified because we just want to. and on the next slide, um, we chose 15 finalists out of all the ones who signed up, and they have their own gamified icons. And these ones, all walks of life, teachers as well, students, engineering packaging students, startups, companies actually joined. And in the next slide, they most of the innovations that they have is from the raw material is from agricultural and waste material. So some of the innovations I'm going to share later, the raw materials is banana leaves, mushrooms, eggshells, coconuts, cassava, abaca, and sargassum. So you can see here that agriculture plays an important part in circularity because we have so many agricultural waste and we cannot actually decompose them all and turn them to bio waste. So we have to innovate to make it more circular. The first one I'm going to share with is in the next one is the abaca bottles. Abaca is a fiber that you can see here in the Philippines, which Adrian Asilio made think of inspired him of the concept in milk bottles. You know, milk bottles is usually carton, and abaca, but you can have more sustainable packaging. So if you can see there, it's made of recyclable and compostable membranes. There's a bioplastic lining in it. And the next one is going to be Samo food packaging film. So sargassum, I'm not sure if you've seen sargassum. It's like a seaweed in the ocean. It's so many, and usually there's not much studies or industries that taps into sargassum as a packaging. So Samo this is actually an idea of some packaging engineering students in a university here in the Philippines. So they're gonna take the raw material from sargassum, process it, and eventually make bioplastics or biofilms made of it. The next one is gonna be Sisidlan by Total Package. They are embedding seeds, a vegetable or flowers, embedding seeds in the packaging so that when you throw it out, you can just dig a soil, compost it, and then there's seeds inside of it, and then you can grow vegetables in it. Next is mycelium base or high foam. There's actually one this is one of the top 3 ideas. High foam is a mycelium-based packaging alternative. So styrofoam, they're trying to replace styrofoam with a raw material from mushrooms. So actually, this idea is like next level. This has a potential of scaling up because styrofoam is used in most industries, especially in fragile items, and high foam hits the spot in replacing it, but in a more sustainable way. And next one is Breakup by Hannah Man. This is the raw material is from eggshells, and it's not necessarily mean for medicines only. It can be in other forms. And I only have 2 minutes left. Next one is Phoenix. Phoenix is a startup here in the Philippines that is trying to replace bubble wraps by kapok fiber. I'm not sure if you saw kapok fiber, but it's like in the old times it is used to be pillows. So they mix kapok fiber, paper waste, and textile waste to eventually replace bubble wraps that could be revolutionary in e-commerce. And the last one is Baby Bow, one of the winners as well. She got the inspiration from coconuts. So that box is made of coconut fiber. So that like the circle of life from your baby, you can use it as a crib. When you grow, when you're like a 4-year-old, you can use it as a trolley. If you're like 10, you can use it as a mini library. Your teenage year, organizer, moving box, and then get old, you can use it as the end life is gonna be a nursery box for plants. So Baby Bow is one of the winners of the Wala Osik Challenge 2022. So that is just a brief introduction of all the ideas that we got, the 15 ideas that we got. That is not all, there's so many pa. But those are the top ideas that is focusing on agriculture. So what's next? Next slide. What's next? So we're gonna release 2 books, PDF for ebooks. That is, first is a Wala Usik toolkit for MSMEs, which is the micro, small, medium enterprises, like businesses who would like to adopt the Wala Usik concept in their businesses. And the Wala Usik Challenge Magalog, it's a combination of magazine and magalog where we're gonna put in all of the ideas that we got from the Wala Osik Challenge, the how does it work, how does their ideas work. It's gonna be like a magazine where you can check what are the raw materials used, what is for, what is the potential of scaling up. And we have a packaging engineer that is going to have a commentary in each of those innovations that is going to explain what is it and what is the future with it. So that is all for my talk. And if you'd like to know more about our work, you can reach us at PRRCFI or in that email address. So thank you so much. And I hope you learned a few things from my presentation.
Thank you so much, Erin, for sharing what is circular economy and the difference between circular economy and the linear economy as well. And also you share a lot of prototypes that have been awarded by your Wala Usik Challenge. So we have learned a lot about circular economy and the prototypes that have been made, especially make the new product from the agricultural waste as well. So thank you so much for sharing about that. So our participants, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand, and also you can type in the chat box. Come on, guys, don't be shy. This is, as I said, this is okay, George. You can open your mic and start can discuss with the speaker. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Erin. I'm actually a really big fan of Wala Osik. I'm from Bacolod as well, and I know some people who are heavily involved with the initiative. So very exciting to see it here. Actually, this question was kind of posed to us yesterday as well. And I know I want to ask this question because I know Walausik does a really good job with this. And so my question is, I'm curious to know what are some effective ways that Walausik as an advocacy has found to make something like circular economy not only relevant to youth and everyday average people, but also attractive. So like as you've shared earlier, you've had the demand to do a second hackathon because more people wanted to share their ideas. So yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, thanks, George. Oh my gosh, small world. Communication is a big part of it. You need to deliver a good layout, a good communication, good messaging to all of your work. That is the key to it. So it's not only we're targeting individuals to do collective efforts, but also the LGU, some NGOs, businesses. So I guess, George, you need to be good in communications and really do get a good editor and layout artist to make to make your event attractive. And of course, not only that, you should also deliver like the content wise. You should also deliver it. And of course, if you deliver content wise, your target audience will give you feedbacks on how did you do or we want more. So the story behind the second Wala o Sick challenge is that we really got a good feedback from the first one, and our funder was really impressed with it. So so make a target and go above it. I think that's the key.
Thank you.
Thank you, George. If you have any more questions, you can raise your hand and also type in the chat box. All right, Erin, I have one questions. So based on my understanding, CE is kind of based on the products and that the users already use and take the back to the industry, like to redesign the product, and then we sell it again to the customer, maybe as the second market or on the other way. So I'm curious about for example, some of the products are based on the agri-waste. So does that mean that we need to, on the other hand, it means like we need to generate more waste to follow the circular practices? So I'm curious about that. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, very good question, Fu. Actually, what they say, a solution opens another can of worms of problems. So, circularity right now, it's a big step to provide solutions of the current ways we have. It doesn't necessarily mean that we should just do it the same way. So in the next years, I believe that it's gonna evolve more. New ideas, new innovations that doesn't depend on raw materials as waste. So, but right now it is really essential to use the current waste we have to address. So, but there are some ways that is not avoidable. For example, you cannot stop the coconut industry. You cannot stop the agriculture of sugar and rice. There's really gonna be waste in that. So I think that for sustainability, you should think of what's the raw material that's gonna be there for the years to come? And is this raw material gonna be sustainable? Is this raw material, what's the end life of this raw material? So one example is that it's not really agriculture, but if you heard about eco bricking, I'm really against that concept because it's not a solution, it's just a band-aid, and it's gonna encourage you, your mind's gonna encourage you that it's a fine, I'm gonna consume plastic because I'm gonna put it in bottles, it's gonna be put in structures. But what's the end life of that bottle? It's still gonna be microplastics. So circularity is trying to stop those materials that are not bio-waste or that cannot be consumed by the earth at source. So if you have a faucet that is broken, you just don't put a bucket under the faucet. It's just still gonna overflow. You have to fix the faucet to stop it. So you really have to think about the raw materials. One of the things that we do in design thinking is that, for example, you have this raw material. After its full cycle of life, where is it gonna go? After that, where is it gonna go? After that, where is it gonna go? So you get to think about, is this raw material circular, or is this raw material just gonna bring more problems? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Erin.
You're welcome. All right. Yeah, so if you would like to know more of, actually our project ended last May 5th because it is only a 17-month project, but Wala Usik is it's an open advocacy. Anyone can use it. So if you would like to get a copy of the magalogs that we're gonna release later this year, I'm gonna send it to Fu for the link, and then you can distribute it for all the participants. It's an open source, and we'd like everyone to have it.
Thank you, Erin. Maybe my final call. If you guys have any questions, you can raise your hand or also type in the chat box. And yeah, as I said, like, don't be shy to ask questions. You can directly discuss with the speakers because it's not easy, like, to meet the speakers in one place. We bring you like to learn different case studies from Southeast Asian countries. So yeah, this is a good opportunity to directly discuss what you want to know.
Maybe try to have them, each one should ask questions. If not, they're not gonna get the prize money. Just kidding. Each team should ask a question.
I think no more questions, right? Maybe. So thank you so much, Erin, for joining us today and also sharing holistic economy. This is really insightful, and we learned a lot from you. What is really circular economy and why we should apply it to redesign our projects. And this is really important. And I think circular economy is really a crazy one, and this is really exciting. And yeah, and also I'm really excited to know more ideas how our participants will apply circular economy in combination with in the agriculture sector. And yeah, thank you so much. Now it's talking. Some people are still skeptical about circularity.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's an open conversation. It's not, circular economy is not a perfect model, but it's a model that we can all learn about, and it's a collaborative model where all stakeholders should contribute to it so that we can work in it together, because we cannot just say, hey, do this and it's the solution. No, it's a different solution to every problem. So it's a different world if you're going to say about plastics, a different world if it's electronic waste, if agricultural waste is a different world. So circular economy is just the first step to it. Yeah. Thank you, Long.
Thank you, Long. Long, you want to discuss more about on that?
Yeah, just want to say like in my country, especially in my city, we just launched and spread the term circularity. I think after the pandemic last year, yeah, since last year, and some people said that we cannot achieve it. I'm still because I'm researching about the circular economy as well. But some farmers and also some scientists, they said that it's kind of the general term, or maybe it's too abstract to reach that, because at least at the end of the day, we will discharge the waste. No way to no way to reduce or maybe to recycle all the waste. At least, yeah, we all have to discharge the things we don't want, and that's they have kind of that kind of mindset, and um, and some of them they refuse to join the that community or that alliance in my country. But I see that some people, especially the government, they boost a lot with so many efforts to kind of to enact the regulation, maybe policy. They already put the term circular economy into the law on environmental protection since 2020. So I hope hopefully in my country it will implement in a larger scale, not only in agriculture but also industry as well. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually agree with you, Long. Thank you for that insight. That's true. Circularity, we are actually against the bigger one here. We're against companies, we're against the system that has been actually put out for us for centuries ago. And some people may say circularity is not, we cannot recycle everyone. That's true. We don't have the facilities to recycle it. We don't have the facilities to take all the waste and make it to a new one. But what we do is we can actually stop the waste at source right now. So that's why laws are put into use. But capitalism is really the biggest enemy here, and hopefully, it actually the fight of conservation and environmentalism is really really depressing at sometimes, because you cannot see this. I cannot see the change of circularity in my lifetime, honestly. But what you can do right now is start it and have people talk about it and have companies be liable to what they're doing to our planet. So, wow, what a change of what a change of topic. But it's a new kinds of nerves, and it's a different maybe another challenge to talk about.
Yeah, maybe I would think of another challenge about a circular economy in industry, or maybe in tourism as well. Yep, like we need to dig into so many sectors to spread the term circularity, to let them know we can apply it into every corner of the life. Yep, I think so. Or maybe just simple like follow the minimalism lifestyle. I think so. We can like at least we reduce the waste we create, reduce our demand to because the capitalism and consumerism are everywhere in the world and they boost it. But I'm not.
Minimalism and conscious lifestyle is you can practice that, but also you can practice the power of your vote as well to select leaders that is actually listens to scientists and not the business as usual that we get used to. So, any more questions? I think I'm over time already.
So, all right. Thank you for sharing and giving an awareness on circular economy. We must all initiate educating our neighbors to be in touch with this. Thank you, Shai. So before we end our session, shall we also take a photo with our speaker Erin from Philippines? Please open your camera and please join our photo session with us. Long, can you take a picture for us?
Yes. Okay. Okay. I saw you already ready. I will count as usual. Count 1, 2, 3, and please say cheese. And I can see your bright smile to be captured on the photos. Okay. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Yes. Great. Thank you.
Right, thank you everybody, and you have a great day ahead and enjoy the challenge. Congrats to the CAIC team in advance.
Thank you so much, Erin. So I believe that this is the end of our morning sessions, and we will meet you all at 1 p.m. Sorry, 1 p.m. GMT +7. Have a great lunch, everyone. See you soon.
I thought Brian, he joined this morning. He said he joined on Sunday, both morning and afternoon.
Really?
He will join afternoon, I think.
Yeah. What?
He will join afternoon.
Yeah. Hopefully he will this afternoon because he will lead this afternoon section.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm so sorry, Long. I didn't know, like, after you send a message from WhatsApp, and as soon as I closed the camera and Erin is sharing about the linear economy, and I just realized, oh my god, loans. I'm so sorry for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I also feel nervous and also have starving at the same time because I still haven't had my breakfast yet. So.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So,
you did great job, bro.
Yes.
Thank you. So we will have a lunch and then see you at 1, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Oh, we
So
are. What?
No, I just want to know, like, how many participants joined today morning session?
13 participants.
13.
Yeah.
You know what? Sometimes, like, one account they join, but they have 5 people at the same time. Like yesterday, so we don't need to worry. And yesterday, I also checked the attendance of participants, and only around 7 participants they didn't join the program. But others are joining, and also some have the connection problem. So they are join and leave the room and retry again. So yeah, I think
that's good.
Are gonna be successful. All right.
Okay, see you this afternoon. In 2 hours. Bye.
No.
What?
I just want to remind you, like, to share your criteria and submission for
Yes.
the
So maybe after the breakout rooms, Bang will be the facilitator of breakout room, and after that you will re-announce the process of submission, and after that you will ask me to give the kind of 1 or 2 minutes about detailed about the criteria. Yeah, and we close the our program. If you have any question, have any?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, see ya.